Welcome back to the Misty Boyz RecoveryCast, where we shine a light on the path to healing and understanding. I'm Billy the Kid, and today we're diving into a crucial and sensitive topic: substance abuse within the gay community, its underlying issues, and the journey towards recovery. Today, we're joined by a special guest, a brother of mine, Jordan, who's a fellow brother in recovery and a respected advocate in the community. Jordan, thank you for joining us and for sharing your valuable insight today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Billy. I think it's important to discuss these issues openly, and I'm here to share my perspective, both as an advocate and as someone who's walked this path.
Absolutely, Jordan. So let's get started with, just a little bit about yourself and your own journey. Can you share with us how substance abuse has touched your life and what led to your recovery?
Yeah, I guess just to start off, I've been an addict for the past 4 years. I struggled a lot with methamphetamine drug abuse on and off again throughout those years, with periods of consistent use ranging in between 2 to 5 months daily. And eventually it got worse and worse as I dove deeper into my addiction, causing paranoia and anxiety and hallucinations again and again and again. So I started to develop it started to develop me to cause me to almost commit suicide during that time because I was hearing voices. And so this occurrence just ultimately caused me to check myself into treatment before my psychosis got worse.
And I can surely relate to a lot of what you're saying there. In the heat of my addiction, daily cocaine usage,
Yeah,
the paranoia was substantial. Burying doors, putting barriers up behind doors and things of that nature, just complete, insanity that I was going through, in the heat of addiction, where it was more just the rush of what I was doing. Like I didn't even enjoy the high anymore. So I can
right.
certainly relate to what you're talking about there. In your view, why are substances abuse rates notably high in the gay community? What are some contributing factors that you might see?
Well, to start off, I mean, there's the party culture is notably high. There's a lot of circuit parties, clubs, bars, bathhouses, raves, all of these things in that nature that contribute to the use of drug abuse because us gays, we like to party. I mean, like, I will admit, for most of my early 20s, I would go drinking a lot with my friends, like 5, 6 times a week. And it was because of this that it kind of led to me experimenting with drugs. And also I would say like it is an internal reaction, due to discrimination towards the community from other people. I mean, we all, as humans all have the desire to be a part of a community, the desire to be loved, the desire to feel something emotionally strong. So we can often turn to drugs or alcohol as an escape method to really feel the emotions that we didn't feel before.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of what you said there, Jordan. An escape. For me, I mean, traumatic events, that were not dealt with, caused me to escape into drug use and alcoholism. And short term, as humans, we're always very short sighted in looking at what short term fix can we get to numb the feeling immediately instead of putting necessary work into trying to have full-time recovery. So I've certainly felt that experience of having to want that escape, from a feeling or an emotion. It's certainly something that I could relate to. Stigma and discrimination can often exacerbate substance use. How have you seen this play out in the LGBTQ plus community, and what impact does it have on the individual seeking help?
Well, first of all, there's higher rates in depression and suicide due to discrimination towards the society, towards the community. It could also be a lack of sexual identity, For example, there's a lot of older gay men and they often cheat on their wives, and I see them on Grindr, and they tend to live life at a later age due to being straight for so many years, having to be forced into the closet Or another factor would be being a person of color. Like, for example, I'm a person of color, and I've dealt with racially motivated responses on dating apps, which caused me to feel as though I'm not good enough or I'm not valuable as a person because of my race. And this all kind of the last thing that I talked about, Billy, it kind of like dives into that concept of beauty standards. There's a huge like beauty standard issue with for gay men, and it leads to internalized discrimination within the community. Um, for example, for me, like I said earlier, was subject to a lot of these racially motivated responses on these dating apps, which caused me to feel like I wasn't good enough. And so I turned to drugs and alcohol as an escape method to really maintain, especially with methamphetamine. It caused me to not eat, and so it led me to want to use that drug as a way to maintain a lean physique and to be accepted within my community. I think all of this can impact people to be afraid to seek help due to not wanting to come out, like I said earlier about older gay men within the community, or idealizing unhealthy beauty standards as a means to feel validated within their own community.
Yeah, and I know, we live in a very materialistic society, and a lot of that can affect us in different ways. And I don't know if you want to expound on, the appearance thing, because I know you and I have, being in recovery together, we've talked about this quite frequently. Is there anything else you wanted to add onto that topic? Because I know it's one that really hits home with you.
Yeah, it's just through recovery, I was able to figure out that my value is not just limited to my physical appearance. And, I'm so quick to tell other people this, but I think through recovery, I really realized myself and followed my own advice that, the quality of your physical appearance will change and fluctuate throughout time, but the quality of your heart is something that stays consistent. And I think that's a really good mantra to live by.
Yeah, I love that, Jordan. And it's so easy to give advice. It's extremely difficult to take it in our own lives. And I've seen, you and I have seen each other's recovery firsthand. So I'm proud of the how far you've come in that regard, and seeing yourself in a different light outside just your appearance. I mean, for those who don't know Jordan, and I tried to coax him into doing a song on this podcast, which hopefully we can get him on to do one. But this is one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life,
Thank you.
from an artistic perspective. And we can be as talented, but unless we feel it inside ourselves and in relish in that outside of the things that society or tell us are important, we don't necessarily, water those seeds that we've been blessed with. And I know Jordan is blessed with as a talented musician. So we're looking forward to getting you on, Jordan, again, and getting you to sing some songs and play some music for us.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So identity and acceptance are definitely critical issues. How do these factors influence the addiction and recovery process for gay individuals?
Well, it varies depending on the individual and their situation, but identifying and accepting past traumas can be very beneficial, not just for gay men, but for anyone seeking recovery. I went going into recovery for the first time, did not expect to uncover a lot of unresolved traumas in my past that really helped, me bridge the gap between my addiction and my sexuality and problems with my family. So it wasn't, because if it weren't for diving into these deeper issues apart from just either being gay or drug abuse in general, like it helped me really resolve some mental health issues that I was grappling with for such a long time. And it was challenging for me specifically due to the fact that I had homophobic parents and am still not out to them. So I discovered that most of my drug use was a reactive behavior to not feeling validated by my parents and questioning myself as a gay man in society.
Yeah, and I think you and I, although in different circumstances, can certainly relate into seeking that level of validation. As I've spoken on previous casts, I grew up from a father who was an alcoholic and turned into a heroin addict for all my brain forming years. So, everything that I did, was to seek validation from my family, because we weren't very a loving family, because obviously my mother had been a victim of the abuse as well as my brother, so there wasn't a lot of closeness or unity in the family. So everything I did, whether it be seeking, a career oriented, getting my master's degree, whatever. A lot of the issues that we have in our substance abuse are rooted in that kind of trauma, seeking for validation. So I can certainly relate to you on that topic. And one of the things I know you and I learned in recovery was, our ability to dig deep, not push things deeper anymore, but acknowledge the emotions of what we went through or what we're going through, and acknowledge them and not bury them deeper, because that only makes the hole that much deeper to get out of. So appreciate that share. So you, just as I mentioned, we both experienced traditional recovery programs firsthand. What unique challenges do gay individuals face in these settings? And are these programs adequately addressing their needs?
Well, first of all, I think I'm so fortunate to have been through only a few programs, but I would say the biggest challenge is knowing your own safety. I know with my first rehab, I spent the first few days not out of the closet because it's a defense mechanism. And I had to code switch, because I wasn't sure if the people around me were going to be accepting. I had a fear that I wouldn't be accepted by the staff or the people, but it honestly it honestly was when I met a few other gay men who went through the program, which allowed me to open up because they were unconditionally themselves. And I also had the acceptance of the staff who always showed their support and love for me. So honestly, if it weren't for those few gay men that I met through rehab, I probably wouldn't have been able to come out by myself.
Could you also share some positive developments or success stories that highlight effective approaches to combating substance abuse among the LGBTQ plus individuals?
Yeah, for this question, I would say Colton Haynes, Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Demi Lovato, just a few celebrities, mainstream celebrities that we all know and love, have all struggled with to a level or to a degree of mental health and drug abuse. And I think that they are a beacon of what you know, of being open about your addiction to especially to the press and to the world, and showing their vulnerability is a success story in its own because they're so open about it, which I think is the first step, honestly, is showing your vulnerability to the world and not being apologetic for being a
Absolutely.
person.
I mean, and that's beautiful insight you just gave there. I think, some of the things that, I think about, and that I know you and I had a lot of talks. I mean, being open and vulnerable, I mean, it's not an easy thing. But any path to recovery requires vulnerability. And it requires a supportive community around you as well. To make sure that, when you're being vulnerable, it doesn't put you back into, a place where you're not feeling comfortable. So appreciate that insight there. An inclusive recovery program is crucial. From your experience, what does such a program look like, and why is it tailored? Why is tailored support so vital?
Well, I would say like a welcoming staff that you can turn to for support, a listening audience being, the people that you're in rehab with that will be open to hearing your story and offer their support. I know specifically with my rehab, we had a HIV and AIDS and STI health screenings to offer up the patients at the facility, which was really cool. And it was completely free as well and completely anonymous, which was very nice. And tailored support is so vital because, it helps multiple demographics, not just one, of people who all struggle with recovery.
Yeah, I agree. And, having a support system, that you build within those communities to have outside of that, I don't want to call it a bubble, but technically, I mean, you're really focused on your recovery in that setting, and building relationships within you that you can carry outside is extremely important, which I know we both have relied on. What can allies do to better support the gay community in overcoming these deeply ingrained challenges?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that you can do is be there for your LGBTQIA plus members, vocalize and stand up for any discrimination that you might see towards anyone receiving any sort of negative interaction, and educate and ask questions about the gay community to further your understandings.
Um, I think, Jordan, I appreciate your insights and personal stories today. Have been incredible, enlightening, and inspiring. Thank you for being so open with us and for helping us pave the way for others in the community. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to future episodes and making a difference in every community in recovery. Keep supporting each other, and remember,